We Got It Made always kinda reminded me of Three's Company in reverse. Instead of a guy living with two girls, you've got a girl living with two guys. Teri Copley was the girl who, in this case, was the live-in maid on this sitcom that ran for 1 year on NBC, and then a few years later was revived for another year as a first-run syndicated program. And while I didn't mind the show at all, in fact I thought it was quite fun, I've got to say that it had one of the worst theme songs ever written. Seriously, whoever wrote the thing was phoning it in. Very few lyrics and a cliched 80s musical arrangement that had to seem old and tired even way back then. So now that I'm done ranting about the theme song, I will say that the cast wasn't bad, although Matt McCoy was replaced when the show returned. And Teri Copley, well, she was the best of the bunch. In many ways, she reminded me of a young Suzanne Summers. She brightened up every scene that she was in, and I really thought that she was going to be a huge star. Of course, that didn't happen. Why? Well, the first thing that I'd point to would be the way that the show was marketed. Where Three's Company had the full faith of ABC during its run on the network, I get the feeling that NBC wanted the show to be crazier, nuttier, and perhaps a bit more risque than it actually was. I always felt like We Got It Made worked best when it focused on the blossoming friendship of the three main characters. It also allowed Copley to actually hone her acting skills, which were still fairly rough during her 2 seasons on the show. Those opportunities, sadly, were often cast aside in favor of screen roles that more often than not highlighted Copley's more obvious talents. I do remember watching this movie way back in 1984, how could I not? Along with Copley, you had Tim Daly and Potsy Weber himself, Anson Williams. I guess the best thing that I can say about the movie is that the cast rose above the material. I doubt that while Copley was making that movie, she could have predicted that about a half-decade later, she would actually accept an offer from Hugh Hefner and team to pose for his magazine. Over the years, Copley has reflected on that particular choice and acknowledged that it was a mistake, at least for her. But really, it's hard to blame her. I'm sure that she was looking for a way to boost a career that had lost a little bit of steam. Although she had been able to land numerous guest roles on various TV programs, the movie offers that came her way were for low-budget B and C-grade films, and her personal relationships hadn't worked out all that well either. By 1990, Copley was twice divorced, her first marriage being to fake Luke Duke here, Christopher Mayer. Yep, things weren't going all that well. When she was just a little girl, Teri had a neighbor who used to share Bible stories and treats with her and the other children who lived nearby. She has shared that at that young age, she felt a love from a higher power, only to later lose focus when she prioritized her acting career above all else. Teri has written a book about her newly rediscovered relationship with God. If you're interested in reading it, I'll post a link to it in the description field of this video. Over the past couple of decades, Teri has become even more fervent in her faith and belief in a supreme being that loves her, cares for her, and wants to see her succeed. There's a great video on the 700 Club's CBN website where she talks about a return to her roots. She also talks about her recent return to the entertainment industry, making faith-based motion pictures such as Redeemed. I haven't watched this one, but when I do, I'll post a review of it here on the channel. Even with all of her efforts to find spiritual peace, there are moments in everyone's life where things don't always go as planned. And I've got to believe that this is the case with a little bit of craziness that surrounded Teri and her daughter, who appeared on Dr. Phil together a couple of years ago. On that episode, Teri expressed great concern that her pregnant daughter's boyfriend was not treating her the way that he should. I was hoping to find an update or something, hoping to find if things had gotten any better by visiting Teri's Facebook and Twitter pages, but both social media channels really haven't had any updates from her since 2018. End of the day, I believe that just like Teri did in the early 90s, she has stepped away again from all of the noise to focus on what is most important, her family. And I am confident that this positive woman, who has boatloads of faith, will once again find the light in her life that she is looking for. Alright, let's close this video with Teri's 1989 guest appearance on another one of my favorite TV shows, Quantum Leap. In this particular episode, which takes place in the mid-70s, Teri gets to play a character who sounds and acts just a little bit like Marilyn Monroe, who I understand was something of a real-life influence on her. Alright, what do you think? Did you enjoy We Got It Made? And do you remember that horrible theme song? Please share your memories in the comments section below, and while you're at it, I would appreciate it if you clicked on the thumbs up icon. And why not consider whether or not you'd like to subscribe to my channel? I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.